Dear students, welcome to the module number 2 of measurements and instrumentation. Today we'll be starting with the topic power measurement, and we have the instrument which is known as electrodynamometer type instrument. And we had already seen the working principle in one of our previous lectures. Whenever a current carrying conductor, so you have a current carrying conductor placed inside a magnetic field, it experiences a force, and due to this force deflection of this particular coil takes place. So this is a very simple principle behind or working principle behind the electrodynamometer type of instrument, and this particular type of instrument is generally used to measure power, but it also can be used to measure current and voltage. So we'll see all these things in detail. We will look into the construction and working of electrodynamometer type instrument. In this particular type of instrument, we have two set of coils, fixed coil and moving coil. We have pointer arrangement with the scale. The fixed coil is divided into two identical sections. These are made up of thick wires which carries the current that is to be measured. So you are trying to measure power, so you need some relationship between current and voltage. So the current that is flowing through the load is passing through the fixed coil, and hence this particular coil is also known as current coil. Now the moving coil is made out of or wound with very thin wires and is connected across the load or across the source which supplies the power. Now this particular moving coil is also known as pressure coil or voltage coil, since it is connected in parallel with the load. A resistor R is connected in series with the moving coil in order to limit the current that is flowing through this particular moving coil. Now this moving coil is connected to the shaft, which is fastened or held using jewel bearings. Okay. Now this moving coil is free to move within the space provided by the fixed coils. We have a pointer provided which is connected to the shaft and just again connected to the moving arrangement or a moving coil. The pointer is able to move along the this particular scale which is also provided. Now we'll look at the working principle. Now once the circuit is energized, you'll have currents flowing through the fixed coil and moving coil. The current through the fixed coil is proportional to the current that is flowing through the load, since it is connected in series with the load, and the current through the moving coil is proportional to the voltage that is applied across the circuit, since your moving coil is connected in parallel with the this supply source or in parallel with the load that is whose power is to be measured. And once the current flows in both the coils, it gets energized and some flux is produced. So flux produced by the fixed coil is proportional to the load current, since the load current is passing through the fixed coil, and the field produced by the moving coil is proportional to the voltage across the coil. Now these two fluxes will interact together, and because of that interaction you will have some force generated, and that force causes the moving system to deflect, and this deflection is indicated or recorded in terms of or can be seen as a deflection of the pointer on the scale. So a dynamometer type wattmeter consists of fixed coils which are identical and are divided into two. So you have two fixed coils and one moving coil and a series resistor. So the moving coil is able to move within the fixed coils, and you have a pointer which deflects over the scale. Now the fixed coil, the main magnetic field is produced by the fixed coil, and it provides a uniform magnetic field near the center. So that is the main purpose of the fixed coil, and also it allows the placement of the moving section within that. So that is also a purpose. So thick wires are used to carry the main load current, and generally the supports are made of ceramic, or like a non-magnetic material in order to get a good magnetic field distribution. So if it is made of magnetic material, it will be disturbing the magnetic field distribution produced by this fixed coil. So in order to avoid that, you are using a non-magnetic material for mounting the fixed coil. Now, coming to moving coil, you have a pointer which is connected to the moving coil, and you have a spring control arrangement. So again, just like in a PMMC instrument, the spring carries the current into the moving system. So you have a non-inductive resistance connected in series with the voltage coil in order to restrict the current to a small value, as well as to ensure that the voltage coil current remains more or less in phase with the load voltage. That is, you are trying to measure the current which is proportional to the voltage. So if you have a phase difference between the voltage applied across the current applied across the pressure coil and the current that is flowing through the pressure coil, then you will have errors. So in order to reduce that, you are providing a non-inductive resistance in order to get in phase values of current and voltage. Now these are made of fine wires, and again you are using a non-magnetic former. So these are pivoted with the help of jewel bearings so that it can move freely. Now the moving coil is supported with the help of jewel bearings. Then phosphor bronze springs are used, which is used to lead the current in and out of the moving coil, just like your PMMC instrument. So it provides the necessary control torque. Now since you are using phosphor bronze springs, the current values which the moving coil can carry is limited to 100 milliampere in case of electrodynamometer type instrument. So without any shunts, shunt resistances provided, you can send 100 milliampere through the current coil or the moving coil. And since you don't have any permanent magnet system, you are not using eddy current damping. Here you are using air friction damping. You are having some aluminum vanes provided which moves inside the air chamber. So eddy current damping again will interfere with the magnetic field which is already available, which is already weak in nature. So in order to avoid that, you are not going for eddy current damping, rather you are going for air friction damping. Now coming to the actual meter. So this is the image of an actual meter. So here you can see few terminals. So this is your scale. You can see the pointer. So this is your zero error adjustment that I have already told you. You can, if you are having, see here you have some zero error. So you can adjust this zero error with the help of this particular arrangement. So this is a screw which can be turned, and you can make this pointer to be at 0 before you start reading. Now you have some arrangements provided here, some connections. So actually this is your current coil. So you are indicating your current coil with the help of two terminal notations M and L. Okay, so M stands for mains. So you are connecting this M to the supply side. Okay, and L is indicating the load side. Okay, so you are connecting a load at this side. Suppose you are having a load, you are having a resistor, and you are trying to measure the power which is being consumed by this resistor. So you will be connecting this L to this resistor, and you are having some voltage source, AC voltage source, suppose. So you are connecting the source side to this M point of the current coil. So you can see this is M and this is L. Okay, and C is your common point. So C is shown here. So you will be shorting M and C externally while you are using this particular instrument for power measurement. You will be shorting M and C externally, and then V indicates the voltage side. So here you can select the voltage range. So here these are the terminals for selecting the voltages. So you have three options available. it will be something like 75 volt, 125 volt and 250 volt. So depending on the voltage that you are having, or which is being supplied or which is being measured, you can select any one of these ranges. Okay, now this V will be connected like this. So the circuit is completed here by connecting this. So here you have connected the current coil in series with this load. So this is your load current IL. So current coil carries the load current, and the pressure coil is connected across this load or across the source, so that it carries the current. Again, this also carries the current, okay, IP, and this carries the current IC. IC is the current coil current, and IP is the pressure coil current. So IP will be proportional to the voltage that is being applied. Okay, so this is how you make connections while you do measure power with the help of wattmeter. Now you can see another set of terminals, B1, B2. Okay, now these two here actually have 4 terminals, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Four set of terminals, 4 terminals are here. So these are used to select the current range. Okay, so this inherently this wattmeter will be having 2 set of ranges. Say this wattmeter will be designed for 2 ampere range and 4 ampere range. So so you have to make connections in such a way that while you are going for 2 ampere range, you have to make the connections for 2 amperes, and for 4 ampere range you have to make the connections for 4 ampere. And the connections to be made, how to make the connections, that will be indicated behind this meter. So by looking at that image, one image will be given. Looking at that image, you can make the connections to suit your current value. So you can go for 2 ampere or 4 ampere. Then you can also select the voltages accordingly. Then make the connections. So you are ready to take the readings with the help of wattmeter. So remember, these current coil and pressure coil are independent. Once you connect M and C together and make other array connections, then only you are able to measure the power. Now coming to the torque equation of dynamometer type wattmeter. So deflecting torque is obviously proportional to the two currents, the current coil current IC and the pressure coil current IP. Now the controlling torque is proportional to Kc into theta, since you have spring control in the system. Now in steady deflection position, Tc is equal to Td. Okay, that you know. Now from these two equations, you can say that theta is proportional to IC into IP. So that can be indicated something like this. That is, theta is proportional to I squared. Okay, theta will be proportional to product of two currents, I squared. Okay, so this is a general expression that you get relationship between theta and the current. The total energy stored in the magnetic field is given by this particular equation. E is equal to half IC squared LC plus half IP squared LP plus IC IP M, where LC and LP are the self inductances of the fixed coil and moving coil respectively, and M is the mutual inductance. The interaction of IC and IP will give rise to a deflection torque Td. Now this particular deflection torque sets the moving coil in position for which the energy will be maximum with respect to the deflection. Now the deflection torque is given by the equation dE by d theta. That is, d theta is the increase in angular deflection at which your field energy increases by dE. And here, since the fixed coil inductance and the moving coil inductances are constant, dLc and dLp will be equal to 0. So you will get this particular equation for the deflection torque as IC, IP into dm by d theta, which is your TD. Again, TC is already given as Kc into theta. So once you equate both at steady state, so you'll have theta proportional to okay, theta proportional to IC IP dm by d theta, and IC and IP can be again simplified or considered as I. So theta will be equal to I squared dm by d theta divided by k, or theta will be proportional to I squared. Now, while you are measuring the power, so the current through the current coil, suppose it is given by IC. So here I am considering this as ICM sin omega t and IPM sin omega t. So ICM is the maximum value of IC and IPM is the maximum value of IP. So here you can see that IP is lagging behind IC by some angle phi. So you are assuming that you are having some lagging load. In such a case, your IP will be lagging behind IC. Now, in any scenario, once you integrate this, in order to get the average deflection torque, you integrate it over the cycle. So what you will be getting? So 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to pi ICM IPM ICIP dm. So here you have IC IP dm sin omega t. Here you don't have m. IC IP dm sin omega t dm by d theta into d omega t, and which can be simplified as 1 by 2 pi integral. When you can substitute IC and IP in this equation, and you do the integration and simplify it, so you will be getting TD equal to IC IP cos phi dm by d theta. Okay, IC IP cos phi dm by d theta. So here IC is the RMS value of current through the current coil. So this is RMS value, and IP is the RMS value of current through the pressure coil, which again corresponds to the voltage. So IP can be defined as the voltage applied divided by the resistance of that current coil. So you are having high resistance, so V by R gives IP. So again, you can write something like this: TD is proportional to VI. I is the load current and V is the voltage that is coming across the pressure coil, and cos phi is already here. And this condition is valid once your dm by d theta is constant. So you can make your construction or arrangement in such a way that you are having dm by d theta constant over majority of the range of your scale. Okay, so you're assuming that dm by d theta is constant, that is your mutual inductances are not varying once your deflection occurs. So in such a scenario, you can say that your deflection torque is proportional to VI cos theta, and at equilibrium what you will get, TC is equal to TD, and that implies theta is proportional to VI cos phi, or theta is proportional to P. VI cos phi is P, so your theta is proportional to the active power that is being measured. So that is how you can say that in a dynamometer type instrument while used for power measurement, deflection will be proportional to the active power that is being measured. So you can measure active power using this dynamometer type instrument. Now again, this particular instrument, as I have said earlier, can be used as an ammeter and a voltmeter. So you have some load here, and you are trying to measure the current flowing through this particular load. So you need to measure or you need to connect this as a ammeter. What you will do? So you will connect your current coil like this to L. So you are connecting your C to L, and then V to this point, or you are connecting your current coil and pressure coil in series. So you'll have a supply current coming from here I, and that I will be flowing back. This is how you can measure your current using this electrodynamometer type instrument. Again, here in such an arrangement, your current is limited to 100 milliamperes. Now, if you are planning to measure more current, what you can do? You can provide a shunt resistance in parallel with the pressure coil or the moving coil. Since your moving coil is the arrangement where you have the spring, so spring has a minimum current carrying capacity. So you are connecting shunt resistance, which is having a lower value, minimum value, in parallel with the pressure coil, so that you are able to measure more current. So once you connect that, you are able to measure current which is greater than 100 milliamperes. Okay, now in such an arrangement, you are avoiding the series resistance which is connected, because you are connecting in series. So once you again connect a resistance in series, that also affects the entire performance. You don't require a series resistance while you are connecting this as an ammeter. While connecting this particular instrument as a voltmeter, you require this. So you connect this in series, okay, and you have sorry, you have a load, okay, and when you connect this across this particular load, okay, you are connecting current coil in series with the pressure coil, and then you are connecting it across load. If you are going to measure the voltage of the load, if you are going to measure the voltage of the source, you can connect this series arrangement across the source wherever you are going to measure it. But here you are connecting in series with the element which you are going to indicate. So here this wattmeter acts as an ammeter. So here this acts as a voltmeter. So both these arrangements can be made. So remember, what you can remember is that these two are independent coils. This can be connected in different ways to measure different quantities. Even this particular dynamometer type instrument can be used to measure reactive power Q using a different arrangement. That also will be discussed in the future lectures. Okay.